BBC News with Sue Montgomery. All 19 children and 2 teachers killed by a gunman at a Texas elementary school on Tuesday were shot dead in the same classroom. There have been tributes to the victims from their grieving parents and relatives, most of whom come from the town of Uvalde's Hispanic community. The lone gunman, Salvador Ramos, was shot dead by the border police. He had posted shortly before the shooting that he was going to attack an elementary school and that he had already shot his grandmother. Our correspondent, Nomi Iqbal, is in Uvalde.
This is the 8th mass shooting in America this year. It's the 27th school shooting, and you'd think, does it still make headlines? Yes, it does. There's so much media here, so much national media here covering this story, because of course we're talking about 19 children aged between 7 and 10, gunned down, being barricaded in their classroom. The Texas governor, Greg Abbott, held a press conference a short while ago. Mr. Abbott says it seems he did not have a criminal record or a history of mental health problems either. In terms of motivation, we just don't know.
Mr. Abbott's live press conference was interrupted by his Democratic opponent, Beto O'Rourke, who challenged the Texas governor over his record on the state's gun laws. Speaking to reporters afterwards, Mr. O'Rourke explained why he did it.
Because the governor of the state of Texas, the most powerful man in the state, chose to do nothing. He went to Santa Fe High School after kids were killed in their classrooms, told the parents he would do something. He did nothing. He came to my hometown of El Paso after 23 people were slaughtered. He said he was going to do something. He did nothing. In fact, the only thing he did was make it easier to buy a gun. The only thing he did was make it easier to carry a gun in public.
The horror expressed in the United States over the shooting has been echoed by many around the world. The presidents of France, Ukraine, and the head of the United Nations have all expressed their revulsion. Others, like Australia's Treasurer Jim Chalmers, said it was hard to imagine that a great country like the United States could go on without doing anything about gun violence. And Jacinda Ardern, New Zealand's Prime Minister, said her fellow compatriots were a pragmatic people and supported the tightening of gun laws after 51 people were killed at 2 mosques in Christchurch in 2019. Heavy fighting has been reported between the Congolese army and fighters from the M23 rebel group around the largest military base in the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Security sources told the Reuters news agency that rebels had surrounded the base in the town of Rumangabo. That's not been independently confirmed. There's been no comment from the army or the rebel side. The M23 is a Congolese Tutsi group. BBC News. The Colombian authorities say unconfirmed reports indicate one of the top leaders of the FARC dissident rebels has been killed in Venezuela. Gentil Duarte was thought to have died in an attack by rival groups involved in drug trafficking. Here's Nicolas Rocha.
Colombia's defense minister, Diego Molano, says Gentil Duarte was killed along with his lover by an explosion at his camp in Venezuelan territory a few kilometers from the Colombian border. His group is thought to have been infiltrated by members of a rival FARC dissident group fighting for control of drug trafficking routes. If his death is confirmed, he'd be the 4th prominent former FARC rebel commander to have been killed by rival gangs since the FARC signed a peace deal with the government in 2016.
The governor of Luhansk province in Ukraine has described the situation in the Donbass as exceptionally bad, with no let-up in Russian shelling. The cities of Severodonetsk and Lysychansk are under intense bombardment by Russian forces. Jessica McCallan reports.
The Ukrainian military admitted that they had been pushed back in some areas as the fighting continues. On Tuesday, there was a shootout along the main highway into the region after Russian forces set up a checkpoint on it. Governor Serhiy Haidai said the road remains open, with humanitarian supplies getting in. The governor added that most of the 45,000 civilians in the area did not want to leave, although gas shortages meant that basic foodstuffs such as bread could not be baked.
The Director General of the World Trade Organization has urged countries not to block the export of basic foods as shortages caused by Russia's invasion of Ukraine worsen. Speaking at the World Economic Forum, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala said such bans would only increase food inflation. The WTO says 22 countries have imposed restrictions on 41 foodstuffs. BBC News.